The Turkish Minister for European Union Affairs has told the BBC he is losing hope of getting a deal on visa-free travel for Turks within Europe. Volkan Bozkir said changing anti-terror laws in Turkey would be impossible. The EU insists that Turkey needs to narrow its definition of terrorism, as well as meet 4 other key criteria, to qualify for visa-free travel. It is part of a larger agreement between the two sides aimed at easing Europe's migration crisis. On Wednesday, Mr. Bozkir told the BBC that his hopes of getting visa-free travel for Turkish nationals were getting less and less. He admitted that the negotiations had reached a crucial phase, stressing that Turkey had already done enough. His comments came after a day of meetings with senior members of the European Parliament in Strasbourg. Last week, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan warned the EU that Ankara would not change its anti-terror laws. "We'll go our way, you go yours," he said. The EU and rights groups have accused Ankara of using its broad anti-terror legislation to intimidate journalists and stifle dissent. Ankara rejects this, saying it needs the laws to fight militant groups. Syrian refugee children stand behind a fence at the Natib migrant camp in Turkey. Turkey has threatened to stop taking back migrants from Greece if the EU fails to deliver on visa liberalization. The large influx of migrants and refugees arriving in Europe from Turkey, and from North Africa, has caused a political crisis among EU states. Under the EU-Turkey agreement, migrants who have arrived illegally in Greece since March 20 are to be sent back to Turkey if they do not apply for asylum or if their claim is rejected. For each Syrian migrant returned to Turkey, the EU is to take in another Syrian who has made a legitimate request.